Cyberpunk is a very cool build style, with a lot of different techniques that really make it pop. So how about we go through 9 of the core principles using these builds as an example here. Another YouTuber, Leon, kindly invited me to go through these builds and improve them, after he had forced people to make them in only 20 minutes. So without further ado, let's go! P.S. we recorded this for like 4 hours straight, which might begin to show a little later down the line. Okay, bye.
I'm really excited to see what your critique is of these builds. So I know you've seen the prompts ahead of time, and so the idea is you're looking to see what the build is missing that makes it fulfill the prompt a little bit better, right?
Yeah, there's some key features in Cyberpunk builds that are like very prominent towards the style, and some of these builds do really good in some fields, and then there's obviously improvements to be made. They only had a limited amount of time, I understand.
Yeah, 20 minutes. Not even everybody had things like Axiom available to them. So yeah, of course, it's not a criticism. We're not hating.
Exactly, and we're just here to add a little touch and improve on things. The prompt for this one was a highlight on like luxury for apartments, and that is an area of a Cyberpunk build that is like, it really focusing on the futuristic aspect of Cyberpunk and looking towards like technology and like all of these high sophisticated things that could be. But in Cyberpunk, there's always got to be the contrast, and that's the main thing I've seen in this build. There's very little contrast to show that this is luxury compared to something else. What I thought was, because it's meant to be like a skyscraper, the higher up you go, the more luxurious it gets, and at the bottom it's still got to be the drudgery of like, almost like trash and all the streets of the less luxurious places in the city.
Yeah. No, that's a really cool idea though. I would never have thought of that. Like, yes, it's all quote-unquote luxury apartments, but like you said, there's always going to be, class divide and inequality is two very prominent themes in Cyberpunk, right?
And that's a ground very level. Big part of it. I think probably transitioning the resin a bit into a less bright down near the bottom is probably the best way to go. I think that works well because it looks almost sun bleached.
I like where you're going with this, where it's brown, right? It's very much just like filthy.
Exactly, yeah, and really go for the corners as well because that's where it's gonna collect. I'm looking for, it's kelp, isn't it? I keep looking for seaweed, but it's called kelp.
Yep, kelp, like little bunches of like trash or whatever. I love when people do that.
Do
I think it looks
the
good.
candle on top to make it like the bundle in.
Yeah, because I would imagine a lot of this is going to be us playing around with textures, and that's one of the things that I think I like the most about your videos is that you really go nuts with the texturing.
Yeah, I love doing, like, especially with Cyberpunk, you can make cool, a lot of it is almost narratively the disrespect that's been given to the environment. And so you can do a lot with graffiti work and other things like that.
I mean, yeah, it is an opportunity to just really, really go nuts with these, of course, big colors. And then these sort of grimier scenes are just so detailed with texture. I think it's really cool. Is that as a detail, or are you using that like just purely for the texture? Oh, I see. You're doing like a little
as a cabling
electronic
effect.
Something.
Yeah.
Yeah. You use probably like chains or iron bars to connect those two. Yes, no, I love this trick. It's so much fun to play with those the lever, the debugged levers.
Yeah, I really wish that you could place these in vanilla because it really adds to it. I really like your idea with. Sorry, I realize I've taken over your fire exit space without.
Oh no, that's fine. I can do that wherever. That was.
I think actually on the front of the build,
completely fine.
That would be a very good highlight for this spot because I think shape-wise it would really help break up this sort of very symmetrical windowing to just have like the first floor of these. Right. I'm gonna add like a sideways sign sticking out of this wall to almost show that the area has been almost sold or like bought out by businesses. I think that something that would be good for this upper area as well would be these antennas on top are all reaching up and like they're helping to give the cyberpunk feel, but to really make it contrast the bottom areas and being in the low and grunge, having this stretch even higher with these long spindly antennas up super duper high would really help bring the composition even further up on one side.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this top area could, frankly, this whole thing could go a little bit higher. But yeah, let's just stick with the antenna for now since we're running a bit low on time.
I feel like, yeah, bringing it really high on one side. In fact, I'm gonna move this corner like almost on a slope down, just to really accentuate how tall this like left side is going, and have like a leading line leading up to the top, just to really sell this up here is the luxury place, not down there.
Oh yeah, no, I like it. More vertical lines, right? Adding to the whole verticality of this place, right?
Exactly, yeah. And it also helps to continue the motif of these antennas stretching up as well, and have some more of the white lines going up. That overall already has shown the contrast between the bottom areas and these higher up luxury apartments.
Yeah, absolutely. No, for just doing a little like 20 minutes of hand detailing, we got the idea across. We're selling the inequality expressed literally with the rich being on top of the poor in this case, right? Yeah, that works out really well. This is awesome. Let's check out the second one.
So for this one, they really do well on the detail work of adding this sort of narrative in contrast between the two areas of like, oh, these are some nice buildings, and then here is the garbage. The whole being in the darker areas of the underworld of the city is sort of taken away by the fact that it's very in the open. It feels like, because I think it's because the street goes quite wide compared to the buildings as well. It really does make it feel almost like they're smaller than they should be. So I was thinking for this one, we should focus on the scale of the build. Maybe bring each of the buildings taller and higher up, put some thinner builds either side to make it feel like it's in amongst an alleyway and in like a darker area. Perhaps even bringing the two builds closer to one another would do that as well.
Yeah, this little kind of side section, right, of this Prismarine building, we can maybe put that on the other side. That way we can have the two big wall faces near each other. So I could swap that around. And yeah, I like the idea of, like you said, making things more cramped, making things taller and more imposing. But yeah, I'm actually going to do a little bit more of what you were just saying about adding in some details to the section. We do have the dumpster in the coral, which is great. That's it's kind
that
of
works
the
really well,
of the dirt. Yeah, I might actually do another fire escape here.
Hey, if it works, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, you know? It works. Yeah, I'm gonna add some higher weight onto this building towards the top as well, to make it feel like it's below the other builds, and sort of that the whole area is moving up away from it. In fact, using dark oak for this wall might actually work. Even though it is a wood block, if it's sort of merged in here, it can just act as a highlight rather than any than actually the material itself.
Cool, I've never seen that before. That's cool.
It's just all about experimenting. I have not done this before either. I'm just seeing how it works. It looks pretty good now, though.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it looks good. Man, honestly, I could see each of these builds easily taking the 20 minutes. I'm not gonna lie. Just between
yeah, we're getting a little carried away.
Just on this one alley. Yeah. No, I mean the background and stuff is great. It's just like I know you're doing all this with the silhouettes and the framing of this building, and I've just been sitting in an alley the entire time, just adding in bits of coral. It's just like, that's what's taken me 10 minutes. Ah, man, I should really stop making people build in only 20 minutes. I feel bad now.
Yeah, like getting a taste of your own medicine here.
Honestly, no one's ever found a way to Uno reverse card me just yet.
I wonder if maybe even chopping this bit of the build off and just having it right up against this would help it be a bit more, even more cramped in there. All right,
cool.
I think we're done with that.
That feels infinitely more cramped, more
very tiny and insignificant compared to the rest of the builds. This really is the dredges.
No, it really
now.
Just like sandwiching it between these two big kind of chocolatey colored buildings. Like, yeah, they're not exactly detailed. They don't exactly look like much, but they're there to impose, right?
Exactly,
they're scale, like you said.
They're the silhouettes. We don't want to draw away from these main builds, so it just acts as almost just for scale.
Do you want to know brief little backstory? So this is one of the builds where, as the person was building it, they created a bit of a story. You know, some people had a bit of a little story to go along with. The person who built it, he just decided it was just one guy, who was just really evil and is stealing all the world's chocolate.
Of course, that's what they want
Yeah.
in a cyberpunk world.
There's a couple signs back here just accentuating the guy's evilness.
God, this guy's bad. We're in we're in the wrong neck of the woods. So there's a little thing in architecture known as hostile architecture that I think would help accentuate this a bit more. It does look a little bit like a water bottle from afar.
It does. Oh no.
It's a little bit wonky, a little bit round, a little bit, you know, it just sort of sticks in its little place. I think accentuating all of the features that have been done very well with like the cracks and all of this stuff and like the spikes along the top, I think just accentuating that into a ton of different sharp objects, very tall, imposing, to help give to this guy needs, you know, he needs an evil base worthy of his vast intellect. So
yeah, I'll move this entire thing up because I agree. Yeah, this is another build that was built without tools, and of course, you know, when you're building by hand, you don't want to spend 20 minutes just placing deep slate. You want to actually have a finished build.
A good way of contrasting between the diagonal spikes that we're going to do is to have very flat walls that really just show the texture along them. So maybe even just creating the rest of this tower down to the floor as almost like a rectangle shape. Adding some diagonal spikes coming out of it, and then I'm gonna add probably like an engraving along the diagonal to just add some shape to it here.
Okay.
But if
Were
you
you
wanna...
thinking literal diagonal spikes? Because I might actually mess around with the axiom shape tool.
That sounds good, yeah. Minecraft is actually, by being a voxel-based building program, it really lends itself to diagonal shapes to look even more jagged because of just because of the shapes of the blocks in general. So this,
Yeah,
sometimes that's something you don't want to have to work against with like more organic shapes, and sometimes you have to scale it up because of that. But I think for this, it'll work in our favor. It's cool. It's This is the same thing they do in real life around sort of like nuclear power plants and stuff.
Oh yes, I've heard about this. This is the kind of topic where if someone brings it up, you know they are very online. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. It's
Well,
just like, I feel like no one outside of the internet would ever think about this.
Well, you know, shape is the universal language, I think. Everyone understands that a round thing is friendly, and a diagonally pointy thing that wants to stab you is probably not a good thing.
All right, can I draw the anarchy symbol with concrete powder? Let's find out.
Oh, they were in a rush when they were graffitiing, you know?
Yeah.
I've added this like almost dripping effect to some mold or other sort of weather and tear, and I think it also
That's cool.
it sort of implies it's bleeding in a way, and that's, you know, it's a
metaphor.
gory structure. Yeah, it's a metaphor.
Yeah, this thing looks freaky looking at it from the front now. It is very much like horrible cursed scarecrow kind of just awfulness.
We've made an
something about
eldritch
it makes
tower.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's something very cursed about this.
Yeah, and I think it's still it looks a little bit mythology, but then when you get up to it with the more uniform stripes and the technology, I think that it is very clear that this is like a cyberpunk inspired build.
So this person was assigned the illegal cybernetics shop. You know, the past few have been kind of dingy and dirty and you know, more on the underworld side of things, right? This is kind of continuing that.
So my main thought with this was that they were definitely trying to go with interior stuff, and that's a very cool niche to focus on with Cyberpunk. So I thought we could expand on that and maybe do like almost a cutaway diorama of what that would look like. It's really hard to do diagonals on walls. It's just a lot of open space compared to what you'd need. Cyberpunk should be, at least in this case, when it's meant to be a very rundown place, in my opinion, doing very cramped environments, as we've seen in the last few, helps to accentuate the fact that you're trapped in here and getting these mechanical augmentations. I do really like the contraption coming down from the ceiling. I think that's very funny.
But yeah, you wanted something cramped, right? Something kind of foreboding. Oh, I love this chair in the middle. This is funny.
So just since it's dollhouse style, I've moved the desk round to this wall, a bit replicating how you would be entering, how it was. And I like the greeter bot. That's very funny. And I'm moving the actual operating table raised up to be definitely the center focus of the room. Move it to be at a side angle. And then I'm raising the ceiling here so that we can really buy into the whole contraption thing. And we have enough space to have it looming above the table. Comically large.
That's cool.
We need to find a way to get this block in there. Hanging down. Oh, brilliant.
Right
how comfy. I'll just sit right here.
Hold on, that's a screenshot right there.
Yeah. Using lodestones with levers on all four sides, I really love, because it almost creates like sockets for them to sit in.
Oh, interesting.
Let me try on this.
Oh,
top
bamboo.
one,
Yeah, go ahead and do whatever you like to those.
You can round them off to be more like a barrel.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, no, that actually looks like a barrel. That's perfect. Okay, let me move that over here too.
Because having this like pouring out, you know, because this is a safe place to work. You want to have your
of course
the goo along the
you could
floor.
do a tripwire there.
Perfect. See how this looks when I get to the other side of the wall, but
right. Well, I'm watching you do it right now. No, it's nice. It's a lot more. It adds. It goes with the grime of the existing tuff that's on here, because of course you're using more tuff, but the lodestones actually do look really good there. Yeah. Oh, I see what you're going for. Yeah.
When there's all this clutter in the front half, you can sort of jiff it a bit with perspective to make it, you know, it all just fits into one neat area in the back. The textures will give it.
No, that works really well though. You're using the chiseled tuff, which has that sort of rounded, thick tube-like horizontal thing in the front of it.
Exactly. Yeah, I think this is perfect for what the theme was getting at. It's definitely spiced up in a very nice and chaotic way, but it still has the spacing in between everything so that it's not too much.
So yeah, this is the ramen shop. You know, I had 8 different prompts that were all like very city, very urban, and I wanted to provide a little bit of contrast. You know, remember that a lot of Cyberpunk has like Asian influences, right? Particularly Japanese influences. And if we have something a little bit more homely, a little bit less crazy, as a bit of a contrast to the rest of the builds.
Yeah, I think this is it's really, really strong in pretty much every one of its fields. I think it works extremely well to Cyberpunk. The actual theming for it is that it's a cozy, homely ramen shop, and unfortunately, I think the color scheme is the main thing throwing it off here. It is fitting very well into sort of the neo and grit and grime of Cyberpunk, but maybe using warmer colors for this will help accentuate the fact that it's meant to be like a safe haven. So the wood blocks actually provide really nice gradients in warmer colors, and despite the fact that they're wood, you can sort of make it feel more like it's just like textured and like almost torn down structure, in the same sense that all of the cobblestone and stuff and the cobble deep slate here is used to do that. So transitioning from, if I get a gradient up here, if we lean towards this red and purple side, it's still a little bit more run down and darker, and doesn't feel as pristine as this side. So maybe focusing on these 4 blocks here will help to really accentuate the coziness of the build palette.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'm thinking there's, we have the banners as well. We want to make sure this is a bit warm, right? So maybe like purple and magenta. And
it's like a rarer color that it's more vibrant than like a red would be, because red could be associated with tons of different eras in history, but like purples and pinks are traditionally a rarer color.
Historically, it's not a color you see outside of royalty, right?
Exactly. It's the same reason that the end feels so alien, because the only color there is purple. Like that's everything else is monochrome.
Yeah, actually, yeah, the crimson and mangrove look really good together. I don't know why I never tried this combination before. They do blend super nicely.
Yeah, and it helps to add like a shadow that's almost warmer than the original color, which is a very unique sort of way to texture something. Dark oak could work as a good, almost sort of like, because it's got a nice ribbed texture to it itself. It's more traditional cyberpunk to go the darker route with like very harsh highlights. But for this, you don't really want harsh because it's really meant to be feeling like the safe haven. The contrast to the grit is what makes it feel so nice.
Yeah. Cool, and I think we've totally nailed it. Like, it's so warm, it's so cutesy.
My thoughts on the way to sort of spark this up and make it a little bit more creative, juice powered. I really like the gradients down here, and doing something similar to that with, because these are some very, some sleek walls. This isn't impoverished stuff. The only stuff about it that's less than nice is the iron bars on the windows.
Right.
Given that this is meant to be a less wealthy neighborhood, they might not have the modern day technologies of the cyberpunk world, and might be living off of the decaying but still semi-functioning traditional technologies of times gone by. And this is where traditional Asian architecture and other, like you said before, Japanese inspired stuff would fit in. Maybe a little bit of foliage as well, just as if there's just barely enough life to still be holding on to.
Okay, so what are you thinking regarding the sort of traditional Asian architecture? I know there's like that roof design that everyone loves to build. Not that that's a bad thing, of course. That would work. But did you have anything else in mind?
I think just in general, when we scale it down, if we focus on breaking up this more square style, because that's very like built for purpose, and we want to try and maybe arch it out a bit, have wooden support beams, and I think that we can use pale oak, but instead of the logs itself, going for using like the stairs and stuff gives us access to some nice white arches.
I see. Okay, so like white trim, white accent on top of this sort of orangish, brownish, beige texturing.
I think the composition stuff works well. I think it just all needs to be scaled down. Do I dare try and do a custom tree on this?
Good question.
Be cool.
Yeah, if I select this whole thing, I should be able to just start painting over it.
Oh, nice. Actually, a lot of gradient stuff that I like to do is, instead of transitioning from across the whole build to the other, picking like 2 or 3 points on the build and then grading out from those can create some very interesting shapes that you wouldn't normally see with like different overlaps.
Yeah, let's give that a shot. Yeah, because the existing part has this one kind of central light point. Let me try that again here as well.
Because it is very monochrome at the moment. Having just a single pop. Waxed weathered copper would look good, because that's sort of like it's already a rusty bluish green. Yeah, I think that works well.
Yeah, then you got the bars, very prison-like.
You got the vertical bars and then the horizontal on the grates, just as like a extra backing. Yeah, I'm gonna try and have these be very thin on leaves, these branches. Oh, we're getting like one stray branch out this way as well. That's nice. I like that. Maybe it's got like, can I do, what's the best way to do this? Is it this? Have like a bird's nest sitting in the...
Oh, that's cute. That's cute. I like that.
Something that would be very quick to do, and I think will add a lot, is just add a bunch of moss, make it green.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let's try that. Yeah.
I think, yeah, over where you're at, and then down at the bottom, and then keep the area sort of around the tree leaves pretty neutral, so that it doesn't blur the line, so that the tree still feels very contrasty.
Yeah, no, you were so right about this needing some more green.
Yeah, like adding greenery is just like, it instantly improves most builds. Adding a little bit of decayed technology would be good.
Okay. Oh, I think I know what this is now.
A
Yeah, I
little.
think I know what this is. Yep, this one won't actually spin, but it's still cool. The
You
little
can
fan,
think
yeah,
of that.
everybody loves fans now. And yeah, the tree adds so much, the moss adds so much. I wasn't quite sure. I wasn't quite sold on this at first, but I've definitely, my opinion on this has definitely turned around.
Yeah, I'm very happy with how this has gone. I think the main thing that this build needs is to be split up into like multiple levels, similar to how we did in this build. It's got some composition that juts into different places. There's certain things that are taller than others. If we add in, my favorite word for cyberpunk stuff is gubbins, just a ton of different
Yes.
little bits and pieces that all work as miscellaneous parts and contraptions, and I think big holographic billboards will add to that as well. Big, angular, almost like you were talking before with the radio dish. I think that is like comically bad guy enough to have like a giant radio dish on. It's kind of crazy to be working on a build for 3 hours, but then it's also 10 builds. It's not one build that you're doing. Switch your mindsets the whole time. Well, I'm thankful that you've managed to stick through what is essentially a crash course on Cyberpunk, switching between a bunch of different techniques. I feel like I need to evilify this radio dish a little bit, so I'm gonna go for some reds.
Yes, make it evil. Absolutely.
We're not getting any old signals from this. We're getting evil signals.
Oh, I don't know, the kind of blotchy colors on top of the billboards. I think just the fact that some of them, like the beacons, have a different background. It's a lot more visible than I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, you gotta like color the glass specific to the backing.
All right, yeah. No, you're right. Using glass that's actually more specific to the colors looks quite a bit better, even if it's just random shapes.
Doing like
what are you thinking?
Curved billboard sticking out the wall. It does look. It looks like a
Killing
guy
the
with a
happy guess
yellow
here.
body who's dancing right now.
It does.
It's like doing the water
You should-
fountain.
I love how with this one we kind of just goofed around more than anything else.
Yeah, this by far out of all of them fits the theme the least. Of like, oh, it's an underground sort of evil society. No, they are fully in your face about the fact they're evil, but like in a funny way.
I'm curious what you have to say about this night market though, because it's very different than the other builds.
Yeah, so for this one, I was thinking that mainly it's all very like one level, and having different elevations would help to separate the builds up and have them seem more unique, because this is meant to seem like a very, all of the builds are very different from one another. It's got all types of different variety going on, and we want to try and replicate that in the composition of it, as well as just the detail work of each stall, which is very good. I do love all of the stuff like the sniffer eggs to be used for the pillars here.
Yeah, I know the person who built this, as you can tell, definitely really digs the illegal block techniques, and they're a very technical builder, but there's a lot of detail here. I agree with what you were saying about the elevation though. Definitely, it's all just kind of flat open plain right now. We could even do something similar here we did with the second build with the nightclub, and put in some walls just to kind of make it feel a bit less open, like that maybe.
Yeah, I think that works really well. The fact that one of the purple stool is even closer towards us on this way almost helps to give it a separation in elevation just from the perspective. So that works out really well. And yeah, I think I like your idea of adding in some walls probably along the side here that lead up to that area to sort of coop it in as a space. I'm going to move the walls in closer towards the builds as it gets further and further up to try and box it in towards the back a bit more. I'm going to see about adding in some of the Asian influences that we tried in a previous build. With the
I see.
The classic
I see what you got going on here. Yeah, the classic. What's it called? Tory Gate, I think.
Yeah, that's it. And then I'm gonna add some banners to it, because a lot of cyberpunk stuff is about you think of it as the future stuff, but really it's the past and how it's been built on top of. And so these areas sort of being
deep.
reused. Yeah. I like the idea that a market like this would attract a lot of different people, and so having it be somewhere almost like taken over by a bunch of different cultures from something happened here one day, and it was left to ruin, and then a bunch of people moved into the now free space. I think that's a nice narrative to go with. I'm gonna see if I can finish off this almost 3-point composition using the We've got the 2 Torii gates. We can do a larger one at the back, slightly off center.
Ah, okay. I was just about to ask what you meant by 3-point composition because I've heard that phrase before, but I never actually understood what it meant.
So we've got.
I appreciate the elaboration.
Yeah, we've got one on the left here that's like slightly lower down, and then it leads your eye up this way, and it sort of matches up with how the staircase is going. And then we're just gonna put one at the back that will sort of solidify. It's almost because this one's lower down, the one in the middle should be more left-leaning to fill the space above it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and that makes sense considering the curvature of the stairs, right? The left side has more space at the top than the right.
Yeah.
I think I see what you mean.
It's always a tough one because of how chains work, but adding some lanterns like hanging between the 2 walls above all of the market would be a very cool touch as well. Yeah, I'm going to continue the whole thing of 3-point composition. I'm just going to have 3 of these at varying distances. Just
excellent.
Add a subtlety of blue, but keep them mostly red because, yeah, I think they fit very well with the Torii gates. I do like the use of the cracked netherrack bricks to be almost like the leftover remains of some other buildings that used to be here. I think it works well as a silhouette block as well because it's just a nice dark red.
Yeah, one thing I have taken away from all this, honestly, is just like how cyberpunky a big imposing bland wall is.
Yeah,
I never really thought about it that way because that's more of like a brutalist thing, right? These big blank walls. But yeah, you can have so much around it, growing up around it, like these stalls here. You can have damage and graffiti like we've been doing. There's so much you can do with just a blank space.
Yeah, and this entire thing was only possible because we made the decision to add these different levels in, which allows you to get a lot more creative with adding other details and just overall composition stuff by just working with the limits of certain heights.
So you are quite a big fan of this build, if I remember correctly.
Yes, so we got to the end of the line and I was like, oh, this is a nice shape. And then I read the book, which says a sharp, angular modern skyscraper that almost seems to defy gravity. And this is the most structurally sound looking thing that we've looked at so far, because it's got a massive base to it. So I think we were just talking about brutalist architecture, and this very strongly reminds me of it. And I think in general it's a very good shape and composition for a build. But I think if we want to make it look like it's defying gravity, the best and most simple starting step is just to flip it upside down. I think we have it
I did not expect
balancing
you to say that, but yes.
on
Let's do it.
this point. We add a little bit of structural support, so because it's almost defying gravity, it isn't actually, and then we can work on getting rid of the flat nature at the top.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah, I thought it would be a shame to we have to bulldoze it all because it's a very nice shape. But I think just working on this is a good base. Already from seeing it up this way, I have some ideas. If we moved these top 3 rows of windows back by a few blocks just to really make it look like it's leaning back further, I think a cool way of doing it would be to keep this backspace here empty and then have below on this slanted bit almost like permanent scaffolding where we have these big beams and poles sort of jutting again diagonally down.
It almost kind of looks like some sort of creature standing up on its hind legs now.
Yeah. We've got an arch going through the center of it that's working to connect up some more support beams.
And actually, at the very top here, one thing I did is I made the same window design. I copied it, but I made it a little bit taller. Almost to imply, these are the even nicer apartments. Similar to what we were doing with the very first build. Have a little slight differences where at the bottom you have still big windows, but at the top here you have the even bigger windows. If I could slap another one up there.
This is
wait, there's literally nothing behind those windows.
It's fine. This is where the pretentiously evil villain does his monologue or staring out across the city,
yeah, exactly. Looks cool. Serves no purpose other than facilitating one's own evil.
Exactly. Why are we even putting windows up here? Because the boss told us to.
No, this is sick though. This is really cool. I would never have expected you to just flip it upside down, but it's a lot more abstract now, but that's what we were going for.
Yeah.
So hell yeah.
I think that this build is pretty to the theme, but I would be remiss if I didn't, in this Cyberpunk video, add in my favorite thing to do with a Cyberpunk build. I want to use some warped blocks, and I want to put some splatter on this monochrome build. Just add a pop of the still cold, but a bit of the color around. Warped blocks have such versatility in shapes that you can, like, even with like fences and stuff, you can really like just smother this build with drip effects. So I'm just gonna pick probably like this corner, a deeper spot where it's initially hit. I want to have probably like a highlight for where the light would be hitting, and then I want to try and just drip it down further, and then you speckle it out towards the end.
Oh, with the buttons, yeah. Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's really, really cool.
Yeah, and just do that across different bits. You want to be sparing with it, but I think that this can add a nice touch to the grayness of it. Wonder if I want to look for a darker block here that goes with the blues. Does that actually works quite well? Yeah, that's a little too bright. I want to try and like not just replicate that it's a different material, but also that it's in an inset, so it's on this overhang, so the light wouldn't be there. We've got one there, and I think maybe sprayed up from this bottom corner along here is a spot for a larger one.
Yeah, you got this big open spot here. Nothing here but gray.
Well, this has been like a really creative exercise, because like in no world other than getting one person to build one prompt and then getting another person to build on top of that prompt with another person, like, you'd never be in survival and go, you know, I want to build this. I want to build this here. Just like think about this.
Right. Yeah, no, this format with the 10 builders, or I guess in this case 9 builders, all sort of, whether they get a random prompt or they have to work with the previous person's work. You know, I've done that as well, that they'll have to build off the previous person's work. Didn't do that this time around, but generally speaking, it leads to some really creative stuff sometimes. It leads to a lot of panic and stress, which is always fun. But it leads to some very interesting ideas, and I think it's been really, really a cool experience going back with you and just seeing, you know, without time constraints, without pressure, like what can we really add, looking at this from like a more artistic perspective.
Yeah, this is really, really creative, and like a lot of things coming together at once to make some very unique products, and I think that it has my my cyberpunk expert approval. So that's my mark. So that's it. 9 techniques across 9 builds. Of course, you could apply most of these tips to any build style, so feel free to join my Discord and post some of your work there. I would love to see it. And if you want to watch where these builds initially came from, I will link to Leon's video down below. It was great to build with him, so share the love. Alright, bye!